What about the Lord's Supper? Because, again, am I making this up? Am I the only one? I mean, I grew up in an atmosphere where there was a lot of grace and there was a lot of great things said about God's grace, and we all knew how to get saved by grace through faith. But then it was like, this week is communion week. Ho, 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 ho. It's time for you to take an inventory of what have you done for him lately, or what have you not done for him lately. And we haul out the notepad and the mental notes, and we're trying to get right, and here comes the elements down the row. Is that what Paul meant? No, thank God, no, that's not what he meant. Watch this together today. We're going to start in verse 17 of 1 Corinthians 11. 1 Corinthians 11, verse 17 and following. And we see in verse 17, it says, "In giving this instruction, I do not praise you because you come together not for the better, but for the worse." So Paul is already kind of frustrated with them. He's saying, I need to give you some instruction, and here's why. Because when we gather together for the Lord's Supper, it ends up worse, not better. Like, getting together ought to be great. It ought to be fun. There ought to be fellowship. There ought to be amazing love that comes out of it. But you guys are gathering to supposedly celebrate the Lord's Supper, and it ends up worse, not better. That's how he starts. So, this is basically, they know grace vertically, but they're struggling with grace horizontally. And that's what this passage is about, horizontal grace. How about you extend what you've been given by God? So it's basically, and maybe you've experienced this at home, drama at the dinner table, right? I mean, this is like, imagine Thanksgiving dinner, okay, and half the table is not talking to each other. That's what's happening in the city of Corinth. We're going to see it in a minute. He fleshes it out. There are divisions, there are factions, there are arguments. They're not getting along. So here we are, verse 18. "For in the first place, when you come together as a church, I hear that divisions exist among you, and in part I believe it." So, is he about to tell them to examine a month of sinning? No, he's about to tell them to examine the divisions and factions and infighting and selfishness that they are exhibiting at the Lord's Supper. They are taking it in an unworthy manner instead of respecting each other, especially the poor people. So watch as we keep reading. "For there must also be factions among you, so that those who are approved may become evident among you." Now, if this verse is confusing, you're not alone. For years and years, this verse has been confusing to me. There must be factions, Paul is saying. Why must there be factions? And then he says, so that those who are approved, well, who are the approved? And then the approved become evident? How do they become evident? Like, this to me has historically been a challenging verse. But basically, let me keep it simple. What he's saying is, if there's divisions, then guess what? There must be factions. Like, that's logical. When you have divisions, what do you have? At least two groups. So there must be factions. And then, this is inevitable, that the people who have proven character are going to rise to the occasion and exhibit it. It will be evident that they are approved with proven character. So in a fight, in a division, you end up seeing who is acting absurdly and who is acting uprightly. And that's what Paul is saying here. It will become evident that those who are approved, meaning approved by God in their conduct or approved by Paul in the way that they're acting, they will become evident in the group even in the midst of this infighting. All right, so verse 20, he says, "Therefore," and this is where you could just take a Sharpie marker and circle this verse. This is everything. Watch this. "Therefore, when you meet together," what's happening? "It is not to eat the Lord's Supper. For in your eating," what are you doing? "Each one takes his own supper first, and one is hungry and another is drunk." Now, why are we going through this chapter like this? I want you to see that, when we get to the examine passage, It's not about you going, oh, did I leave one out? Oh, did I sin last Tuesday? Oh, 3 months ago, did I confess that one? Did I leave that? Did I purify myself enough? Oh, here it comes. Here comes the cup. Here comes the bread. Am I forgiven? Do I need to get qualified? That's not the examine.